What's going on YouTube? GoJiroFan661 back with another video review. And on today's review, I decided to do it on this Showa era Baragon figure that was released by Bandai in 1992 and under the Godzilla series. Before I get into further details and stuff like that on the review of the figure, I want to add the history and stats of Baragon. Baragon was he was released or debuted in the 1965 film Frankenstein Conquers the World, also known as Frankenstein vs. Baragon. I still have not had the privilege in watching this film. However, I do have plans in the near future in purchasing me a copy for my collection and watching it, and I will most likely be doing a review of the film. Now, these are sources coming from Wikia. Baragon, from the Showa era, he stood at 25 meters tall and approximately 40 meters long, and he weighed in at 250 metric tons. So again, not one of the one of the smaller kaijus. Baragon, I don't really like him that much, but I don't dislike him. I guess you can say that I like him more than I dislike him. He came out and he's come out in 3 Toho films so far. Again, the one I stated the first on his debut was the 65 Frankenstein Conquers the World, and then he came out in one of my favorite Showa films, the 1968 film Destroy All Monsters, and was last seen in the 2001 Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, All Monsters Attack, or commonly known as GMK. With all that being mentioned, let's go ahead and get down to the figure review. Now, this figure stands at approximately 6 inches tall. And again, it is part of the 8-inch series. Baragon's shorter than your average kaiju. I'm guessing that's why they only made him 6 inches tall. This figure has 6 points of articulation, that being the neck, the 2 arms and the 2 legs, and the base of the tail. They all could spin 360 degrees, I guess, if you push them hard enough. I don't highly recommend you doing that because you'll loosen up the joints of the figure. Unless you bought the figure to play with it, but if you're more of a serious collector like I am, I wouldn't recommend you do that. And this figure, it has somewhat of detail. You can see here on the legs, they had like this, I don't know, like these warts looking things running on his leg, and you can see here the scales on his crotch and chest, also at the bottom of his tail. And again, also here on the top of his head, he has more of those little warts and the spikes here. And I don't know how it looks on the camera here exactly, but if you're looking at it in person, it appears to be like a dark brown, like a very dark brown color. However, if you take this figure out in the sun or in a really lit up room, it's actually like a dark grayish green color, almost like a swampy algae color to it. And they chose this aqua blue that runs from his bottom part of his tail all the way up to his crotch and up to his chest. I think they did a good job on choosing that color. It really makes the figure stand out in the collection. And then they chose this metallic copper color. I wouldn't call it gold. It's more like a copper color. In his fingernails, his toenails, top of his head, inner part of his ears, and running down here through his back all the way down to his tail. and you can see here on his mouth. Back then, they didn't really sculpt the mouth completely like they do the figures of today. The reason being is because back then they chose a strong what is it, like a plastic vinyl, and the figures of today, they're more soft, so they're easier sculpted. That's why a lot of the figures can be sculpted better than the previous figures because of that. A lot of these older figures they're very hard compared to the new figures. They're more soft vinyl. But you know, for its time, I think they did a good job here on half sculpting the teeth and coloring them in. You can definitely feel the teeth if you run your fingers in it. And they chose this yellowish enamel color for the horn. And let me do a 360 view for you guys so you guys can see all of the figure in all its glory. All right, and overall, I think they did a good job with the figure. You know, as I stated before in many of my previous videos, I dig the older vintage figures by Bandai, especially these crazy, I guess you can say, attractive colors, because they're really bright and they really stand out in the collection. They're glossy, and I really dig that. They're definitely I definitely dig the older toys or figures than from the newer ones. Although I understand and I know, I'm not blind. The newer figures are more highly detailed and stuff like that. But again, you know, for its time, I think they did a good job in sculpting this figure and painting it. And that pretty much, oh, before I end the video, let me show you the base. There you go. So right there, Japanese writing. Again, I'm pretty sure you guys can make that out. And here at the bottom leg, or his right leg, it says Bandai 1992, Japan. Alright guys, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video review today, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you like, comment down below, and keep tuning in for more about Godzilla videos and kaiju videos to come. As always, this is Gojira Fan 661 signing out. I'll see you guys later.